Okay, so now I'm gonna give my Resident Evil spiel of how I felt about the game. So I've played every single main Resident Evil game aside from Veronica, which is coming out. And I really love the direction they went with Resident Evil after 6 because it reintroduced the horror. Requiem definitely brought that, carried over into the mainstream game as well. And I think they did a good job of reintroducing Raccoon City as like the main source of problem and like how we got there kind of thing. Obviously, Leon is my favorite character in all of Resident Evil games, so it's really good to see him be like the poster child alongside Grace of the game. I think the whole thing they did with Grace and Leon, kind of like survival into more action, is what they should have done with Resident Evil 6. But Resident Evil 6 is obviously more outlandish because it was like there was no like order to it. And I think with Requiem it was definitely like Race was enough of like survival, where Leon was like a breath of like a breath, to where it's like, okay, I just went through this like really these like really scary moments, and now like with Leon it's like, okay, I can chill a little bit, just kind of kill stuff, enjoy like the Leon that you know from Resident Evil 4. I think the story was well done, but that's probably like the nostalgia factor, because like once you go to like Raccoon City, you're revisiting these places from like Resident Evil 2, and even like the memories of like what you experienced in 2. And it was definitely like really nice. Although if you don't play 2 and going into Requiem, you're kind of just like, what the hell is this kind of thing. Which is good because it encourages people to go back and play the old games and see how it all connects and things like that. So I think the story was good, everything was connected. Obviously I don't understand like the point, like Victor, like that's the only thing that kind of bothered me, is like he was like in the beginning as the bad guy who got Grace, wanted to, you know, doing all these experiments in the hospital and things like that, but I don't think he played an essential role in anything, and he just kind of felt like he was just a name. I guess so. My biggest issues with the game, maybe it won't be an issue for the most part, but these are just like things to like, for me, that kind of bothered me, is like I feel like the gameplay length wasn't long. It said it was a 12-hour playthrough. I don't think, and that's like me like running back and forth a lot and not really running, kind of like walking. So definitely feel like it was lacking in terms of gameplay. Obviously there's a lot I didn't explore, and I'm gonna go back and, you know, get everything, but I think for like a normal player who's like not really like trying to find all these things, it's a very short game. My biggest issue is with combat, and it's primarily Leon's. how is Leon parrying a gigantic monster's tentacles with an axe? That kind of like, that's like a throwback to like, you know, Chris Redfield's boulder punching, and it's kind of like it just didn't feel right, I guess. I mean, overall, I think Requiem was a really good game. Obviously, it has its issues, but I think for the most part, Requiem is definitely like a solid Resident Evil. And I think if anyone's like interested in Requiem, I highly recommend that you go back and play. You just play the Resident Evil like series, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you kind of need to know about BSAA. You can skip 6. Skip 6 is, it's not even a game. Probably skip 7 and 8 if you don't. Not like a big part of the main story, I think, even though that's like the origin kind of thing. But I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are essential, and then Requiem